Hello, all you beautiful people out there. If you're new, welcome to my channel. How about going down, hitting the subscribe button, and ringing the bell so you don't miss any episodes? For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. I really appreciate you. Today's topic, Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar's Dream, Part 2. Not much else I need to say. Let's get on with the video. Daniel tells the king what he dreamed, just as the king demanded, and through the king's perspective, that is, using you language. I will get to the dream momentarily, but first I need to go through a few preliminaries. This passage uses two verbs of to see, which divide the narration into two parts. Daniel first describes the statue, both in overall appearance and by the four parts. The second verb unveils the action sequence, as well as the second image of the stone. Daniel's description uses two different schemata, parts of the human body along with different metals. The statue of the body represents totality, but the movement from head to foot symbolizes movement from the most noble to the least noble part. Paralleling this, the metals also move from most noble to least noble, with the feet described as being partially composed of clay, which we all know is not a metal. At this time in the Near East, statues generally depicted kings or gods. The four divisions of the statue and the correlating four metals are also symbolically important. In this time and place, the number 4 signified totality. Other stories in the ancient world have similarities with this imagery, suggesting that the roots of this story lie elsewhere. However, the dream in Daniel 2 does contain differences. At any rate, we cannot say with certainty that the author of Daniel 2 was aware of these other stories. It is more likely that such schemas had a wide distribution. The most well-known of these stories comes from Hesiod, whose statue represents the 5 ages of humanity with gold, silver, bronze, unidentified material, and iron. These are the same metals used in Daniel 2, but the interpretation differs. The most likely source is Persian. In this story, the god Ahura Mazda tells his wisdom to Zarathustra in a vision. The prophet sees a tree having 4 branches, gold, silver, steel, and mixed iron. These are described as 4 periods that make up the Zoroastrian millennium and are identified with the sage, king, or sovereignty. The first 3 have positive associations, while the mixed iron represents demon rule. Getting back to Daniel, the rock and the statue stand in stark contrast. A rock is natural, whereas a statue is made by humans. The plot, logically, involves the rock hitting the statue, and the unstable feet make a natural site of impact. However, dream logic does not line up with that of the real world, and instead of the rock breaking the feet, it pulverizes them. The final action sequence gives the rock its symbolic significance. That is, the rock becomes a mountain, specifically Mount Zion. The general meaning of the dream would be obvious to a culturally literate person, but Daniel's interpretation adds specificity. I say this a lot, but there are still people out there who just don't get this. You must interpret things according to their culture. You cannot take the book of Daniel and interpret it in a 21st century American ideal. Verses 37 to 38 raise this attention by delaying useful information, and it also serves to establish a central political theology that Nebuchadnezzar derives his power from the God of heaven parallels a characterization of him in Jeremiah. Jeremiah, however, argues against the other prophets in advising the king in a military decision. This description of Nebuchadnezzar is given by Jeremiah in answer to whether or not King Zedekiah should rebel. By the time Daniel was written, this was a distant memory. In Ezekiel 26:7, Nebuchadnezzar is called King of Kings, which, curiously, Nebuchadnezzar never used, but the Neo-Assyrian kings did. This title gives him the position of overlord of vassal kings, a central theme in Daniel 1-6. Daniel 2 describes the God of the Hebrews as the source of Nebuchadnezzar's power. Ancient kings of the Near East often attributed their rulership to a god's will, generally the patron god of their own line. When they conquered another nation, they would generally attribute their right to rule to the chief god of that nation. We don't know if the decree of Cyrus recorded in Ezra 1:2-4 and 2 Chronicles 36:23 is historical, but it does fit this tradition. In this exchange, the conquered people are assured that it is the will of their God. In return, the king gets the political stability from endorsing the conquered people's God. This dream narrative must be understood in terms of this negotiation of power. The idealized monarch of Daniel 2 serves as the antithesis of the unstable fourth kingdom. For the author of Daniel 2, the God-given right for Gentile kings to rule over his people is temporary. The kings and kingdoms mentioned in the book are pivotal in identifying the kingdoms in the dream. The Babylonian Empire is replaced by the Median Empire, which in turn is replaced by the Persian Empire. Daniel 8:20-21 identifies the Greek king Alexander the Great as defeating the Medes and Persians. These kingdoms are best understood as Babylonia, Media, Persia, and Greece. However, since the eschatological downfall of the Greek kingdoms did not occur, later Jews and Christians made Rome the fourth kingdom, combining Media and Persia. Well, friends, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, press the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. My Twitter, Discord, email, and PayPal links are in the description, along with the source that I used for this episode. If you wish to get in contact with me, the best way is Twitter, followed by email. Also, if you would, please leave comments in the comment section. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it also triggers the YouTube algorithm. You may also leave requests down there as well. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from my library. If you have not watched them yet, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.